A very warm good afternoon to all of you. Delighted to be here at CTIA again, and I think Meredith, I think we're now 2 for 2. Last time I spoke, we announced the launch of our 5G residential broadband network of first, and yesterday, unless you were living under a rock and you missed it, we launched the world's first 5G commercial mobility network. Not a little niche operator, as perhaps somebody suggested earlier. But if we are thinking about 5G, let's think positively and let's think into the future. So let's not think about 5G as the next G. Simply doing what we've already done, but more efficiently or faster or slightly cheaper, we'd be selling the opportunity of 5G way, way short. In fact, a lot of people have begun to talk about a fourth industrial revolution. And I think it's no exaggeration to think of 5G as the catalyst for that industrial revolution, much as steam engines, electricity, and personal computing were the catalysts in the first 3 industrial revolutions. And in truth, if 5G is the driving force of this new era, then I'm confident that Verizon is the driving force behind 5G. No other company in the world has brought together the necessary elements of this technology as completely as Verizon has. So today I'd like to begin by sharing an update on what we are doing at Verizon and then talk about my vision for how we can make the most of this revolutionary technology to create new opportunities for the broadest number everywhere to make the world a genuinely better place. Verizon has led the way in developing and deploying 5G and accelerating 5G innovation and moving the sector forward. But I want to acknowledge the role that CTIA and the FCC, including Chairman Pai, have played in helping streamline rules that will enable the US industry to deploy 5G in cities and towns nationwide even faster. Putting America in the vanguard of 5G doesn't happen overnight. 4 years ago at Verizon, we convened the 5G Technology Forum, bringing together key partners in the chipset device and infrastructure community. This created the first standards that allowed everyone to build equipment for 5G. It resulted in 5G becoming a commercial product at least 24 months earlier than anticipated, and provided the foundation for what ultimately became the global standard. No one is farther along than the US, led by Verizon, and we are laying the foundation for the 5G networks of tomorrow. Last October, we launched, as I mentioned, the world's first 5G residential network, giving customers unprecedented speeds and connectivity. And yesterday, we married that to the world's first 5G commercial network, providing a 5G ultra-wideband network launching initially in Minneapolis and Chicago and rolling out to more than 30 cities across the US during 2019. But let me tell you, there's no shortcut to doing this right, because when we say 5G, we mean 5G. It comes down to what we at Verizon like to call the currencies of 5G. And there are 8 of those, as you may have heard us describe before. And we briefly examined these, but to really understand the capability and the possibilities of a 5G network. It's high peak data rates, it's robust mobile data volumes, it's the ability to keep up mobile devices moving at really, really high speed. It's the capacity to connect multiple devices in a location, sometimes 10 times the amount that was previously available. It's about energy efficiency, a 90% improvement in battery life. It's about swift and responsive service deployment, rock-solid network reliability, and super low end-to-end latency. This latency will get even better, but if I tell you in the first 2 days of a 5G network, we have dropped the latency on the Verizon network in half, from the mid-50s milliseconds to now in the mid-20s milliseconds. But what do these currencies really mean? Here's what we believe they mean. They mean that 5G will give us throughputs of 10 gigabits per second, at least 10 times what we get in the very best networks today. We'll see 1,000 times larger data volumes than anything that has come before. We'll see mobile data volumes of 10 terabits per second over a square kilometer. This is the ability to support 1 million connected devices per square kilometer, in comparison to 4G at about 100,000. It means the energy efficiency I described and that improved latency. You know what? This creates an enormous, enormous difference in areas like gaming, in AR, VR, in trading, in remote surgery, and in autonomous vehicles. I'll just give you one example of latency. in a 4G network in an autonomous vehicle will respond at 60 miles an hour to an instruction in 6 feet. In 5G, in 6 inches. One is a ooh, the other's an insurance claim. That's a real difference. So all of this is really exciting, but in order to deliver it, we have to make sure that we put the pieces together. Fiber, spectrum, network density, small cell infrastructure, and real estate. These are the elements that will really make a difference in delivering the capability of 5G that will power this fourth industrial revolution. As we've said all along, Verizon will continue to deploy the most advanced technologies and the highest quality networks with the best reliability for customers. But even if we do all that, it will count for nothing if we just simply build a network. On the bottom of my email, if anyone has received one, it doesn't say we're building a 5G network. It says we're making 5G impossible to ignore. To do that, we're calling on others to come help shape this rapidly evolving technology that will transform the lives of consumers worldwide. Building the network requires a multitude of industry partners, many of whom are represented here, like Ericsson, Nokia, Qualcomm, Intel, and all of the technology companies in this space. Thanks to the early and ongoing coordination with partners in the tech space, we've already got a strong glimpse into the future solutions that we will be able to build on top of the 5G platform. But importantly to state, we are building an open ecosystem. Our 5G lab in New York and 4 others around the country have assembled a very exciting collection of entrepreneurs, inventors, engineers, and academics, and given them unfettered access to the 5G network to see if their ideas are viable. That innovation will create the opportunity to really leverage 5G at scale. We want to reduce the barriers for innovation. Just to give you an idea of what they're up to, one company is working on providing surgeons with 3-dimensional images of human tissue during surgery to enable them to be even more exact during critical procedures. This would not be possible without the bandwidth and ultra-low latency 5G provides. And as proud as we are of our engineers, however, the big picture for me goes well beyond business and technology. To get the most out of the opportunity that is 5G, we must come together and create a higher level of public-private partnership that recognizes the potential of 5G as part of the fabric of our communities, our societies, as well as our economy. In my view, education is the most critical challenge of all, because for all the potential that digital technology has to democratize access to opportunity, far too many communities, and therefore far too many young people in the US, have yet to benefit from the digital revolution. Here's the simple truth. In any society, any economy, if you deny young people access to technology, you're asking them to play the 21st century game with half a deck of cards. As corporate leaders and as corporate citizens, we all share responsibility to provide a better and more sustainable future for all of us, as envisioned by the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which provide the blueprint. At Verizon, our focus on education through the Verizon Innovative Learning Schools, a transformative program giving students the ability to do more, is aligned with UN Sustainable Development Goal number 4 to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education. And we're also committed to goal number 8, focusing on decent work and economic growth. 5G should allow all businesses to accelerate their commitment to delivering the SDGs. And these strategic initiatives will call for a closer partnership with government as well. One of the biggest challenges we have as an industry is finding ways to bring 5G to cities and towns across the country as quickly as possible. Spectrum is the lifeblood of wireless networks, and it's no secret that a key enabler to 5G is large amounts of new bandwidth, particularly in the mid-band. The United States has been aggressive in establishing policy for the use of millimeter wave spectrum, and we are encouraged by the continued innovation on that front. We need to work together with government to identify new sources of spectrum and streamlined 5G deployment. I also want to make a brief comment on data privacy. With ubiquitous connectivity and advanced technology, the issue of data privacy will be more important than ever. My overarching belief is that a data-driven economy and society creates much better choices and much better options for citizens and individuals. We have to build trust to enable the development of an information economy where customers are happy to provide their data for the services that they value. This must include protecting their privacy and using data only on their terms, by their choice, and with their permission. Here too, creative collaboration with our partners in industry, government and academia, and the non-profit sector will be essential. So as I close, I'd like to make a call to action to all of us. With the arrival of 5G, we have the chance to seize on a truly transformational technology, to harness a shift that comes only once in a generation. 5G will enable new ideas that were not possible before, with speeds and bandwidth we could have only dreamed of just a few years ago. And if deployed wisely, it will also shepherd an era of greater social inclusion, equality of opportunity, and a more sustainable economy. This will require all of us to come together to build the collaboration needed to give our customers the full benefit of 5G. We must respond to this unprecedented opportunity in a way that is integrated and comprehensive, involving public and private shareholders alike. So I call on you to ask yourself, what is the opportunity for me in my role as an innovator, an entrepreneur, a public servant, to be a constructive participant in this 5G revolution? Because this ecosystem is one in which we all have a role to play. Regulators, policymakers, educators, entrepreneurs, and inventors. I've shared with you what Verizon is going to do. I ask now that you step forward and join us in building a coalition for inclusion. Because at Verizon, we don't simply wait for the future, we build it. Thank you.